Hello, welcome back to the Cursing Seamstress. Thank goodness the weather is cooperating today. It is cloudy and there may be a little bit of rain, but it's not going to be stormy like it was the last time I tried to film in here. I'm in my sewing room again. It's the messiest room in the world. It's the messiest room in my house. I wanted to share with you, last time I showed you my dog coats that I was making with the pattern McCall's L9495. I finished cutting the large size and I got tired of cutting them because they are kind of big. So I started on the medium and I made a couple and I just wanted to show these. I don't have any dogs to show these on. But what I did with these, rather than doing nothing or doing an embroidery design, I used my silhouette machine and cut stuff out, and then I got my heat press and I used my heat press. So this is a size medium and I put on there You Are My Sunshine. So this is the part that shows, this is the part that goes around the dog's belly, and this is on there nice and good, and I'll tell you about that. It's a funny story to me. And then this morning I finished up this one, and I also put a design, a vinyl iron-on design, I Love You, and the letters and the heart are all hollow so that the fabric shows through, and the front looks like that. So this one I did not put a collar on, and that's an option with the pattern. They don't tell you that, but it's an option. So anyway, just quickly, I've got to go to work today, but quickly, I got my heat press. It was so heavy I could not lift it myself out of the box. They tell you to keep the box because if there's ever anything wrong with it, you have to send it back in the same box because it has specific styrofoam packing, and it's got a piece of plywood on top and on bottom. So I think I mentioned this already, but my daughter came over and was able to lift it herself and put it in my sewing room, and I'm looking at it right now. I tested it out. I set the temperature and the timer to make sure all that would work, and it did. So I successfully cut out a design, the one that said You Are My Sunshine, and went to put it on there. I'm trying not to cough. I still have a cold. Put it on there, put a piece of, I guess this is butcher paper. It's kind of shiny on one side. This side I kept down. So put that on top of the design and clamped down the heat press, waited the appropriate time, I think it was 15 seconds, and it will tell you when the 15 seconds is up, and went to open it and I could not get it open. I had the pressure set apparently too tight, and once it heated up that caused it to expand, I guess, and I was unable to open it. So there I was with fabric in there, and it was a cotton fabric. I felt for sure that it would be scorched and ruined. I immediately, when I realized I tried, I could not get the thing open, so I turned it off and continued to try to open it. I finally called my my next door neighbor. I just talked to him because I cut the grass, which is unbelievable for February, but I had just cut the grass and my neighbor was outside, and I don't have a lot of neighbors, and he was on his way out of town to go to the dentist, so I knew he wasn't going to be back for a long time. So I called to find out if my daughter was picking up her boys, if she could swing by. It would be out of the way, but she had groceries in the car, and so she couldn't because she'd already had the groceries in the car for about 35-40 minutes. So I called another friend to see if he had a meeting over this way, because he usually does every couple of weeks, and he didn't. So I called the company and I said, do you guys have an emergency release for this heat press. And the fellow said, no, we don't. You're just going to have to get somebody strong enough to open it. So that was that, and I had planned to go out and leave the house, but I knew I could not do that with my fabric in there, and it was still warm, and I was waiting to smell a burning smell or for it to erupt in flames. None of that happened. So I think it was probably a good 30 minutes or more that I decided to try opening it again with the lever, and I was able to get it up. I think it had cooled down enough to where I could. And the fabric was not burned, and the design was perfect. And this is the one that happened on. So I was just really pleased that it wasn't a disaster. So I twisted the knob on the top that controls the amount of pressure on the heat press, and so that doesn't happen again. And the dog coat that I showed you, the other one, was done this morning, and it did fine. So so far I like it. I'm still playing around with silhouettes, still playing around with the free program called Inkscape to create files to cut. And I'm still thinking strongly about the Sawgrass printer so that I can use more colors and actually use that ink to sublimate onto fabric. I feel pretty limited with the vinyl. It's great. I'm not experienced in it. I know people do layering where they combine a bunch of colors, not a bunch, but a few. But I'm comfortable doing one color, and I don't know. So I'm gonna give myself some more time to think about that sublimation printer. So that's it. I just wanted to show that to you. I will show you a picture of the heat press. I'm not gonna do a video about how to use it yet. I will if anybody wants one, but for now I'll just show you what it looks like. I'm happy with it. Again, I've only used it. I'm going to play around. I've got some scraps of fabric that I probably need to play with, but it is appropriate for polyester and for cotton, for really any kind of fabric, I guess, unless it were a fabric that was a pile, or that had a real nap to it. It probably would adhere. Vinyl would not adhere to that. So anyway, I appreciate your watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.